Well, good morning from the Hood Table. I hope all the Hood Table fam is having a wonderful, blessed Sunday morning. It is so bright and sunny and beautiful today. And I just thought I would take a trip down memory lane and kind of cruise through some of the old neighborhoods that I used to hang out in when I was a child. I'm gonna go to a house first that was haunted, and I am not like being joking about it, or I'm like serious about this house right here. Let me show y'all this house right here. Hold on, let me take the camera off the holster. This house right here. Look at this house, y'all. This house right here used to scare the bejesus out of me and anybody else who would come over to this house. Now, when I say this house was haunted, I mean, look at the house. You can just look at the house and tell how old it is. It's over 100 years old. When I was a child, I think it was over 100 years old. I'm being sarcastic right there, but that house, you see how big that house is? I know the sun is in the way. Let me back up. Let me back up. Maybe I can get a better angle from the other side out of the sun. Okay, now it's not so much glare. You can't really see the whole side of the house now, but that house is huge. Now imagine that house back in the day. It was just me, my mother, my stepfather, and I had one little bro. So it was like literally 3 of us in this humongous house. That house is huge. Huge. I don't know why or what made my mother want to move in that big old house. I really don't. It was huge. But anyway, let's get back to the ghosts. And the ghosts in that house, like literally, I started sleepwalking in that house. I never sleepwalked before. I started sleepwalking in that house, and I will always wake up in the bathtub. Always. It never failed. My mother would find me in the bathtub. No water, of course. It's a dry bathtub. And I would be in there asleep. And she would be like, why is she sleepwalking, trying to take me to the doctor and stuff, thinking something wrong with me mentally? And then it would be times where it would be wintertime and we would have the heat on like 75 or whatever. It's a big house, so you got to keep the heat up high. And the heat would just drop down and it would get like 50 degrees in the house where you could like see your breath coming in and out of your mouth. And I remember one time when I was little, I think this was the last straw. I remember one time when I was younger and everybody was sitting down in the living room on the couch, and I'm turning around because I'm about to go past my Grammy's old house. But everybody was just sitting around watching TV. And next thing you know, we hear like a stampede sound coming down the stairs. Like 100 people were running down the stairs at one time. Or a stampede of animals was running down the stairs at one time. And it was so freaking crazy. We were so scared. I mean, my mom, my dad, everybody was like freaking out. And it wasn't in our imagination. We weren't asleep. We weren't dreaming. It was like real life, real action. And it was crazy. That was the last straw. That's when we moved. Now, this house right here, a lot of people recognize this house. 2920 North 24th Street. Let me roll the window down so you get a clearer view. That was my grandma and Dot's house. That was, I believe, one of the homes that she stayed in the longest before she moved, and then before she got sick, and of course before she passed away. A lot of people know my Aunt Dot, and we used to kick it a lot down here across the street from my Grammy's house. It used to be a basketball court. In that fence, you can still see a little bit of the basketball court. A lot of people used to go to Sacred Heart School over here. I'm gonna go over here. Yeah, it's still like a playground. It's all looks like a playground. I don't know when the last time that it's been remodeled or whatever, but the playground right there, I don't remember that playground back in the day. I remember the basketball hoops. It's only 2 hoops here right now, but it used to be more. It used to be a whole bunch of basketball hoops. Yeah, there's the old playground back there. That's what I remember. I don't remember that new set, so I don't know how long that's been there. But that's Sacred Heart. A lot of people used to go to Sacred Heart School back in the day. A lot of people went to Sacred Heart School. You wouldn't think they went to a Catholic school though, because a lot of us back then was kind of wild. Ghetto. But yeah, I didn't go to Sacred Heart School, but a lot of my friends went to Sacred Heart School. The only time I went to any kind of school like that was junior high, and that was what school was that? SOS. And I went there for a while. It was crazy because I remember we was going to a church, and some people from that Christian school, SOS, they had came to the church, and they were like recruiting kids, and a lot of us at that time stayed in the projects, and a lot of us stayed in the hood, and you know, stuff like that. So they were recruiting kids and gave our parents all this, you know, talk about what they could offer their kids, and woo woo woo. And next thing you know, we were in that darn school. I lasted about 2 years before I got put out because I was just being ghetto. And it's like they had you only had like so many chances in that school. I was always in-house suspension or in trouble. And I remember they used to spank us back then too. They used to spank us. You got the paddle, and if you didn't want the paddle, and I remember that paddle, it was like a red stop sign on both sides of the paddle. It was like a red stop sign, and it said stop on the paddle. And if you didn't want the paddle, then you had to go on in-house suspension. And in-house suspension, you would be in there a week, and you would have to read the Bible basically from the very beginning. You have to read the Bible from the very beginning, and you had to read it out loud. Everybody in suspension would take turns reading the Bible. If you were the only one in-house suspension, you had to read the Bible all by yourself out loud all day, except for, of course, while you're at lunch or breaks or whatnot. Now this house right here, oh, roll the wrong window down. This house right here has a lot of memories. 1819 Benny Street. A lot of memories. I know if my cousins are watching right now, they like, what you doing down at Aunt Bell's house? That house has a lot of memories. That's my Aunt Bell. remember when she used to live there, and that house is humongous. I mean, it literally had like, I think 7 or 8 bedrooms, like 3 or 4 bathrooms. The house is so big. I'm gonna turn around. The house is so big. It had a staircase in the front of the house, and it had a staircase in the back of the house. And I remember the staircase in the back of the house being so narrow. So narrow. You had to really be careful how you went up and down the street. I mean the stairs. Here's another angle. Here's another angle. You had to be really careful how you went up and down the stairs, because if you were going too fast, you would definitely fall. And fall all the way down the stairs and hit that doggone wall at the curve of the staircase. But yeah, I remember that house. We used to have a lot of fun at that house. And Belle, I remember watching her and getting a kick out of her and her friends, and our older aunties and uncles playing cards and dominoes and cussing, and ooh, it would start out all good in the hood. It would start out all good in the hood, and next thing you know, somebody fighting or cussing somebody out. And oh my god, watching them sit around, smoke their cigarettes and drink their burr. But yeah, this is Fontenelle Boulevard. Let's see, we should be coming up on Coons Park. There's Coons Park over there to the right. Coons Park. We used to hang out a lot down here when we were younger. And at the basketball court over here, y'all done heard me say a lot that I used to play basketball. And I was a tomboy. I used to play basketball a lot. So that's another one of the basketball courts where I used to play. And there's the Old Horseman High School. Well, it was a junior high and high school back in the day. Now it's King. But it used to be Horseman High School. I think it was 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. I didn't go there, but a lot of people I know went to high school there. Up above for me is Evans Tower. I have a auntie, a great aunt who lives there. I think she still lives there. Well, actually not aunt, I'm sorry. Cousin. I have a cousin who lives there. My second cousin. Cousin Barbara. Unless she moved, but I think she still lives there. Okay, this is 24th Street, which be really popping back in the day. Over there is the Salvation Army. Salvation Army. I used to spend a lot of time back in the day there as well. And one time, I had to spend time there because I was forced. I had to do community service. And I had to get like 1,000 hours in at that time. Yeah. Anyway, again, back in the day, we was little ghetto. There's Lothrop School over to the left. Lothrop, L-O-T-H-R-O-P, the best in the nation. Na, 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 na. Lothrop School. Okay, I'm on Pinckney Street now. And that house right there, the black and I don't know what color that is, black and it's not white. Off-white? I don't know. But anyway, that's the Perkins. That's the Perkins house. The Perkins. Back in the day, I used to kick it with the Perkins. I used to be kicking with Tamika Perkins, Candace Perkins, all of them. I'm just rolling kind of slow. Rolling kind of slow. I can't remember that song that I'm thinking of. I think it's Luda or something. No, that ain't Luda. I can't remember the name of the song. Anyway, but okay, majority of my life was spent here in this black and white house. This house right here. Again, I never understood why my parents would have us in these humongous houses. Look how big that house is. Now, around this time, it was me, my stepdad, and my two brothers. My baby brother was born by then. That house, it don't make no sense how big that is. And next door is the Princess. A lot of y'all in North Omaha, y'all know the Princess. The Princess, I was good friends with Toya Prince, TT, Tim, Tom, all of them. They were my neighbors, and they was real cool people. I love the Princess. And they still live there. Their parents still live there. It's a lot of big houses over here in this neck of the woods. But yeah, that house back there, that was where I spent the majority of my life. We moved a lot when I was younger. I'm not taking you to all the homes that we stayed in. Otherwise, I'd be on here forever. Across the street from me is, on the other side of this gate, or this fence, I say gate. On the other side of this fence is the North Freeway. And as you can see, it goes, it's really long, but I can just show you the part that's in front of me. So it goes down that way, and it goes down that way. So it's pretty long, But anyway, on the other side of that fence is the North Freeway. Now, I'm gonna show you where I used to live before the house that I just drove you past. I used to stay in this little house right here. The street is all jacked up. I don't know what's going on. This house right here was probably the smallest house we lived in. And I couldn't stand this house. I could not stand this house, this little raggedy house. I don't know who live here now, but when we stayed there, that house was raggedy. And that was years ago. Years ago. But anyway, a little story about that house. Now, I don't know if you can tell, but it has a little attic in the upstairs. And one time, it was me and my bro. My baby bro wasn't born yet. It was me and my baby bro. And I got tired of sharing a bedroom with him. I was getting older. I was around 12, and we only had 2 bedrooms, and I was getting so tired of sharing bedrooms with him. So my mom and my stepdad at the time was like, well, why don't we make a space upstairs in the attic and put her in the attic? And here's my auntie's old house, y'all. My Aunt Frankie. If I can get the right window down. I done rolled down every window but the darn window I need down. I used to love this house. It's humongous too. I used to love this house. My Aunt Frankie had a nice house. I used to love that house. Yes, I did. This house right here is actually an apartment house. I remember Christina and Tanya used to stay there. I can't remember their last name at the top of my head, but they were sisters, and they were mixed, and their mom was white, and their dad was black. And I remember it was funny when we first found out that, because their father, he was like way much older than their mom. He was like 30 years older than their mom. So in high school, their father was like 60 already. He was very old. And so people used to tease them a lot. You know, we were little kids. I'm going to finish telling y'all this story, but while I'm rolling, I'm going to just show y'all a few memorable places. This house right here, Terrence and Travis, they stayed here. Travis, he had went to prison I wonder if he's out. He went to prison a long time ago. See that fence back there? They used to have a humongous dog. Like the size of a horse. I don't know what kind of dog it was, but it's like the size of a horse. And that thing was big. But anyway, I'm gonna tell you a story about their house as well in a second. But back to the story of living in that little house across the street from the interstate. Okay, so my mother and them had put me in the attic, and one night everything was fine. I had it all decorated, you know. I made it as girlish and, you know, feminine as possible for an old attic. And one night I woke up screaming and crying and in uncontrollable pain. And my mom and dad, I mean, I literally couldn't even move. My mom and dad came running upstairs. They thought I was being attacked. They thought somebody had broken the house, went up in the attic, was, you know, taking advantage of me, you know, anything you can imagine going wrong with your child. And, oh, the sun is bright. Where my shades? Where my shades? Okay. Put my shades on. Okay, where was I at? Oh, and so they came running upstairs, and I'm just screaming, and I'm holding my head uncontrollably, and I'm just rocking back and forth, screaming in pain, and they didn't know what was going on. So my dad at the time had an old pickup truck, and we all jumped in the pickup truck, and there's loads of drugs, y'all. Loads of drugs. I remember being able to, back in the day, go to that place and buy cigarettes for my stepdad with a note. My stepdad wants a pack of Winston-Salem's 100, please. Winston-Salem's 100, please. For my father, for my dad. Here's the note. But anyway, and so they put me in the truck. My mom was holding me in my lap because, again, I was uncontrollable. I was moving around and shaking and all this kind of stuff. They didn't know what the hell's wrong with me. We get to the hospital emergency room, and my mom she's in tears. She's crying. She's praying. She's like, I don't know what's wrong with my daughter. Here's another house over here. My Aunt Frankie used to live in that house, too. Another humongous house. I don't understand, again, what it is about these big houses. That's why I live in a small house. Everywhere I move, it's a small house. I can't stand humongous houses, more cleaning, more stuff to mess up and then have to clean up, and high utilities and all that. Give me a little crib. I'm good. But, and the doctor, they immediately put me in a wheelchair. They thought I was in labor. That just picture that, because that's how bad I was screaming and yelling and just cringing in pain. They thought I was having a baby. And my mom was like, she ain't having no baby. She ain't pregnant. She don't have sex. You know, and I was a virgin at that time, so I wasn't doing nothing at that time. I was 12. And yeah, before y'all even go there, I know people at 12 do be coming up pregnant, but in their defense, most of the time, that's something that happened that they couldn't prevent or didn't want to happen. I'm gonna just leave it at that. But anywho, back to my story. Martin Luther King Center. Is that still the place you go sign up for Section 8 and housing to live in the projects and get housing, OHA or housing authority? I don't know. But yeah. So anywho, at the hospital, the doctors, they I don't know, they called several doctors in. I really couldn't talk. All I kept saying was my head. That's all I kept saying was my head. And so finally the doctor, I don't know, a specialist came in with ear, nose, and throat, and he started looking at my ears and my nose and my mouth and everything. And to his surprise, when he looked at my ears with a microscope, he saw something in there crawling around. And you guys, to the right over here is, hold up, let me get my phone out. Stage 2. Well, it used to be stage 2. It used to be a club. It used to be a club. It used to go down in that little old club. And in the back, there was like a patio space. area in the back. So in the summertime or even in winter, people, you know, how to smoke their cigarettes and stuff. It used to go down. Anyway, they closed it. They sold it. Another company is going to knock that building down eventually or something. I don't know. But anyway, another company is going to eventually take over that establishment. Well, they already took it over, but I guess they're going to turn it into something. I don't know. But anyway, that was the old stage 2 where everybody used to hang out, especially if you were from Spencer Projects. Used to walk over from the projects and go to the stage and get a drink and dance and stuff. But anywho, he saw something crawling around my ear, so they immediately started flushing out my ear, and lo and behold, it was, I don't even remember what kind of bug it was. I can't remember if it was an ant, if it was a spider, if it was, I don't know what it was, but it came out on the pillow on the hospital bed when they flushed out my ear. And like immediately, I was like, thank you. My mom was like, this why she was screaming and in pain, because of this little bug. If you would have saw how small the bug was, but then, you know, you have to know how small the ear is inside. Like if you stick a Q-tip too far in your ear, the smallest little part of the Q-tip, you can be screaming out in pain, excruciating pain, you know, from just the tip of a Q-tip. So imagine a bug crawling around there, you know, down far enough where I couldn't get it out. And here's Howard Kennedy School. Howard Kennedy. This was where I went for kindergarten. That bridge right there, I used to hate that bridge because I'm scared of heights. But Howard Kennedy, I used to love this school. And it's all nice and everything. I really love how they has kept this building up. I don't know what it looks like on the outside, but I mean on the inside, but it looks nice on the outside, that's for sure. Okay, I should be able to go after this next car coming from my left. But yeah, so after that, I was like, thank you. And it was crazy because, my parents just couldn't believe how much pain I was in. I was screaming like that, and because of a tiny little bug. But yeah, your ear is a very, very, very small space, and that pain was awful, and I will never forget that pain ever, ever, ever. I thought somebody was drilling a drill inside my freaking head. That's how bad it hurt. That's how bad it hurt. Now, where am I about to go? Let's see. I'm gonna turn right here. I'm gonna go up Lake Street, and this up here, this church right here, that's Salem Baptist Church. It's their new church. It's not brand new, but it's the church that they bought, their second church, because they were in a church before, which we are about to pass. A lot of people remember Salem, and I just passed the African American bookstore. I would have slowed down, but there's like 5 cars behind me, so I'm trying not to hold up traffic. But the old Salem Baptist Church, which is right here to my right, really nice sized church. But they sold that church. It is now Sharon Seventh-day Adventist Church. Am I saying that right? Sharon Seventh-day Adventist Church. Okay, so there's Howard Kennedy up there to the right of me. I'm going to cruise through the project where I lived for a moment of my younger life. Spencer Projects, man. have a lot of memories over here. One memory in particular was when some female was upset because I was dating her ex, and she had came to my house and had wrote all kind of explicit words on my door, which she had done after she had my boyfriend at the time had damaged his car multiple times, bust out his windows, tore off his antenna of his car. I mean, she wrote on his car with lipstick. I mean, it was all kind of stuff that she had done when we were dating. That's where I used to live, right there. Right there. That's where I used to live, right there. And, yeah, she had done a lot of damage to his vehicle, and every time we called the police, they was like, well, did you see her do it? We knew she was doing it. We knew she was doing it, but we never caught her in the act. And then once she started vandalizing my door to my project, I'm not gonna show y'all which apartment the chick used to live in, but that was the main reason why she was upset, because of the fact she thought he was throwing it up in her face that he was with somebody else, because we lived in close proximity of each other. And mind you, I was living here first, and then she moved in, and then later down the road, me and him, or him and I, started dating. So it wasn't, and they were never staying together in their project apartment. She lived there by herself. So it wasn't like I saw this guy over there every day and they were together and then they broke up. They had been broke up, and she moved in after I already lived there, and then later down the line we started dating. She found out he was dating somebody across the street and she went crazy. But anyway, I had police was called. They never did anything because we didn't have proof. And so what had happened? I lost my, oh yeah, so one day after my apartment doors had been vandalized, I was like, man, forget this. I'm like, you can't do nothing to her, but I can. Shoot, this is woman to woman now. And so I walked over her door and knocked on her door. And mind you, it was wintertime. So I had put on some fighting clothes. It was wintertime, but I put on some fighting clothes. I put on my sneakers. I didn't have no coat on. I didn't have nothing. I just walked over there, knocked on the door, and told her to come out, but she didn't want to come out. Her sister was like, we don't know what you're talking about. We didn't do anything. We didn't do anything. But again, we knew who was responsible. We knew. We knew. So anyway, she didn't want to come out. And I was like, basically I told her, I like, step into the street. We got business to handle. She didn't want to come out. So later that day, I was at my apartment project apartment, whatever you want to call it, across the street from her, just chilling. And next thing I know, I get a knock at the door, and I look outside, and it's her. And I'm like, oh, okay, you didn't want to open the door and come out when I came to your crib, but you want to open the door now. Anyway, I look outside, and it's her. It's like probably, I don't know, 30 more family members. It was deep, like 30 more family members. And I was like, what in the tarnation is going on here? What in the tarnation is going on here? Now they want me to come outside, and they want to handle some business. I'm like, y'all crazy. So I called up my peeps. And then next thing you know, the cops came. Somebody called the cops. We was all outside. It was just a whole bunch of ruckus, and It was a hot mess. It was a hot mess. It was a hot mess. I told my boyfriend at that time, if you want to continue being with me, you are going to move me up out of here. And that's exactly what happened. He found me a spot. We moved. We got our own place. Because we were staying in 2 different places at that time. So it wasn't like he was living with me in the projects. I was staying by myself. And that's what happened. We moved and life went on after that. But yeah, that was a whole mess. A whole mess. That was like the first time I ever got into it with, you know, like seriously got into it with a female over a guy. And it really wasn't over the guy. It was over her just doing all kind of dumb stuff. And then it slowly involved me. So that's when I had to, yeah, okay. But anywho, I'm driving up Ames Street right now. And let's see, we just passed Jim's Rib Haven, which is pretty popular, next to Bill's Barbecue in Omaha. Well, actually, Skeet's Barbecue used to be like the most popular barbecue joint in Omaha, Nebraska. Skeet's, I'll take you guys by there another time, but it was like really, really hitting back in the day. Everybody, they used to be lined up outside the joint over Skeet's. That barbecue, I mean, the taste of the, oh my God, got me salivating now just thinking about it. Just thinking about it. But anywho, let's see, where should I take y'all next? Okay, I know where I'm gonna go. We on 42nd and Ames Street right now. Pretty popular location at nighttime. I think it still is. A lot of people come through here at nighttime and get their gas, pump their gas, be parked up on the parking lot on one of the gas stations there right across the street from each other. There's the Walgreens. We just passed Walgreens on the right that closed down due to too much theft. Too much theft. People over here stealing from the Walgreens. I don't know what they were stealing most. Probably some medicine. I don't know what they were stealing. But anyway, Walgreens recently shut down in the hood. We still got some other Walgreens. There's the one on 30th and Dodge, 72nd and Cass. It's quite a few more in other places. This is 48th Street. 48th and Ames Street. I'm gonna take y'all to one of my old hoods. One of my old hoods. 48, as they call it. 48. There's so many apartment buildings on 48. I mean, so many apartment buildings. I'm just driving past apartment row after apartment row after apartment row. 48. Here's some more apartments. Then we come across a few houses. 48th and Sprague. It's really bright, so you probably can't see the sign, but let me through, man. Let me through, homie. And there's no outlet. There's no outlet. And this hill right here, when it would snow and get real icy, coming down this hill, we would literally have to leave our cars parked down this hill and walk up. And you see, the hill ain't even that big. So I don't even know why it gave us so much trouble. But anyway, this building right here has now been remodel. Is not the building that it used to be at all. It's a nice building though. Really nice building. Really nice. This part right here used to lead up to the apartment buildings, and that tall area right there, it might still be an elevator. I'm pretty sure it's still an elevator, but it was an elevator back in the day. And underneath there was a laundry area underneath that little brick patio area, whatever you want to call it. It's really nice. It's nothing like it used to be. See that up there at the top? Let me see if I can zoom. See that up there at the top? That right there used to be a penthouse at the top. Now these apartments were like really hood. Like really hood. We used to call them the high risers. Some people probably call them something else. But I call them the high risers because they were, I think it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 floors and the penthouse. Here's another view from my side. Yes. But yes, back in the day, all that up there was the penthouse. All that up there. And man, when I tell you, we used to kick it over here in the high risers. I mean, every day, every night, every weekend. And you know what? When I first moved in the high risers, I was, how old was I? I think I was 18, 19. No, I was like 19. Because for a minute, I was staying here and there, here and there. I used to say I was homeless for a couple of years, but I'm going to start changing that. I'm going to just say I didn't have a permanent dwelling place. Because I used to hop around, you know, I used to stay here, stay there. I won't go all into that. One day I will, but most people who close to me know my story. But I'm just going to show you behind the building because it's really nice. It is nothing like it used to be. Nothing. It's so sunny out here. It's nothing like it used to be. Back in the day when we lived here in this apartment building, the apartments, oh, the sun. Oh my God. Let me see if I can get y'all a different angle out the sun. The apartment building back in the day, the rent that I paid was $250. Yeah, that's a nice shot right there. That's how big this apartment building is. It had a slumlord though. We had a slumlord. It's now Heartland Family Services. That's what it says on the Heartland Family Services. That's what it is now. But back in the day, man, we had a slumlord. The rent was real cheap, but again, we had a slumlord. This is like apartment city over here in North Omaha. And when I first moved in, I think I was like, again, I want to say 19, but I didn't have any credit, no decent credit or nothing like that. And everybody around that age, the landlord back then, I'm just showing some more apartments over here. I'm telling y'all, this whole area used to be hitting back in the day, but it was a lot of things that happened over here. A lot of fights, a lot of drug dealing, a lot of gang banging, we used to kick it over there too, right there. But a lot of stuff used to go on over here. But when I had moved in, that's another view of the area, and it's across the street from this beautiful park, Fontenelle Park. Okay, so, and it's a nice golf course over there at Fontenelle Park, by the way, too. But when I had moved in, I had to have have somebody vouch for me, and there was this lady who went to our church. She basically like co-signed apartments for me and some of my god sisters. It was like 3 of us, and then no, it was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It was 5 of us all together, and she had co-signed so that we could get an apartment there. And I made sure I paid my bill on time. My little $250, I paid it every month. My god sisters, I'm pretty sure they did too, so it wasn't like she co-signed for some teenagers and we just, you know, didn't handle our responsibilities in there. We handled our responsibilities, but I was just bringing that up to say her name was Miss Pauline, and she went to a church that I attended, you know, a long time ago, and she like co-signed for all of us to get an apartment up there. She stayed up there too. Her and her son Boo, rest in peace to both of them. Boo was the homie. I don't know if any of y'all watching remember Boo. He passed away a very long time ago, and then his mother passed away some years later, and then Sister Pauline, her sister Pearlie, she passed away some years later after that. Those three were some very special people to a lot of us at church, to a lot of people in the community. A lot of people knew Boo and Sister Pauline and Sister Pearlie from, man, when we used to be up in Hilltop. When we used to be up in Hilltop, kicking it back in the day in the Hilltop projects. Back in the day, you know, a lot of people remember them from there. But anywho, yeah, so now I'm on Fontenelle Boulevard, and I just want to take you to one last spot where I used to kick it at where I actually lived for a second too. Again, I lived in a lot of areas when I was growing up. That's why a lot of times when people be like, what hood you from? I can like name off every hood I lived in, but I just say I am the hood. I am the hood. The hood. I am the hood. I lived all over the hood. From the projects to the high risers, Pinckney, Ohio, Sprague, the high risers. I used to stay in Pleasant View West projects when I was real little, up there by Howard Kennedy, that school that I showed you guys. Jane Street. I stayed everywhere, all over Omaha. Excuse me. And where we are going to go right now is one of the areas I used to live in as well. Used to kick it in Redmond Apartments. Redmond Apartments. Man, the memories. When I always say that. When I say we used to kick it. We used to kick it in Redmond. Man, we used to tear Redmond up. Running through here, acting wild, acting crazy back in the day. Thank God I grew up. Thank God I grew up. Redmond Townhomes. Redmond Townhomes. Yes. There's a whole bunch of apartments up and down Redmond. Matter of fact, this is where the wreck was, y'all, the other day. Remember I was live from the wreck, from the scene of the wreck? They still haven't fixed the pole. Can y'all see the pole still bent down? This sun. Yeah, that's where the wreck was the other day. I was live from the wreck. I made a video about it, so y'all can check the video out the other day, and I posted pictures on the Hood Table Facebook page. The Hood Table, D-A Hood Table. But yeah, one memory in particular that I have from Redmond is, I'm trying to turn around because I need to go to the gas station that I passed. Excuse me. One memory from Redmond that I have is one night when we was out wilding out, just, oh my God, being ghetto, being all the way ghetto. We was out doing some things, and I'm not even gonna say what things we was doing. We was out doing some things. Use your imagination, create whatever you want to create, but I'm not telling you. I will not incriminate myself. But one night we was out doing some things, and we started being chased by some white guys in a pickup truck with Confederate flags hanging on both sides of the front of the truck. One of the guys, there was a guy in the back in the bed of the truck. He had a shotgun. This is real story, y'all. Real story. I can have people vouch for this. Some of them are subscribed to my channel, so if they see this video, they'll know I'm not lying because they were there. And they were chasing us. They chased us from Sorensen Expressway because we was crossing the street of Sorensen, the back way to get to Redmond townhomes, and they flew down Sorensen, hit the curb, came down and around to get on Redmond, and was chasing us and screaming all kind of vulgar words like coons and the N-word and all this kind of stuff. Man, when I tell you, that was one of those nights where, ooh, that boy just stole on him. Did y'all see that? That little boy just stole on him. What is in the world? Somebody better come get their kids. They down here hitting on each other. He hit that boy dead in his face. Did he steal his candy? I don't know what's going on. But this is Cubby's, y'all. Cubby's gas station, convenience store. Let me finish this story so I can get off of here. But yeah. And so they was yelling and screaming at us. They were, you know, one of those times where you be like, Lord, if you get me out of this situation, I promise I'll do this. I won't do that anymore. I won't be ghetto anymore and do ghetto things anymore. That was one of those times. And what ended up happening was my god sister's grandma at the time, she knew we like to hang out in the streets and run the streets. So her policy was, if you're not in the house by midnight, you're locked out. We were locked out. We was banging on the door. Nobody would let us in. We locked out. That was her policy. She's not getting up out her bed to let us in after midnight. So that was her policy. So we were stuck outside, locked out. The only thing we could do was hide under cars. So that's what we did. We hid under some cars. And when I say, do y'all remember that scene of Smokey on Friday, on the first Friday, when Smokey was hiding in the bed of that pickup truck and he was like, Mama, Mama. And Craig was telling him to get up and look and see if they come. When I tell you I was under that car, like, Mama, Mama. I had tears coming down my eyes. I'm like, oh my God, we gonna die tonight. And now we didn't have no cell phones. You know, that was a long time ago. We didn't have no cell phones. So we couldn't call the po-pos. We couldn't call nobody. We were just out there in the middle of the night. And it had to be like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. Nobody was out there. But the truck, they kept going up and down Redmond. They had a big bright light, like lights that would be on a cop car. Big bright lights that lit up the whole complex, but we was hiding under cars. So, you know, at that time, you know, I'm bigger now, but at that time I was really small and I could easily fit under a car. And that's what we did. We was hiding under cars and they eventually drove off. But that was probably one of the most scariest parts of my life. One of the most scariest parts of my life where I was like, man, if God could get me out of this situation, I swear I would turn my whole life around. I was like, Mama, Mama. It's funny now, but it was not funny then. But anyway, y'all. Oh my God. That was a mess. That was a mess. I don't know who that guy is right there standing outside of Cubby's. But he literally has been, I came to Cubby's this morning, like 4 hours ago, and he was out there then. So I don't know, but that's, I don't know, that's strange. I know he don't work in the store, but I don't know, maybe he's a panhandler, but he looks like he's dressed up really nice. Nice coat, nice boots, nice jeans. But he's smoking the heck out of that cigarette. He is smoking the heck out of that cigarette. Get my phone holder thing up here. But yeah, I don't know why he's still down here at the Cubbies. Man, I just cannot believe how nice it feels today. But that's only inside the car. Y'all probably can't hear it, but the wind is gusting. And the minute you open your car door, the car door about to swing off the hinges. That's how windy it is. Every time I step out the car, my hair is all over my head. It's just a bad hair day. Just a bad hair day overall. Okay, here comes a po-po. The po-po. Protect and serve. And he waved at me. That was nice. And I waved back. But anywho, last but not least, the last home that I'm going to show you guys from my memory is actually the last home where my mother lived before she passed away, which was 5 years ago, May 23rd, 2015. I wanted to say 4 years ago because the new year literally just started, so it's now 5 years. And here is her house right here. I say her house, even though she's not living here anymore. Let me roll the windows down. My windows is a little dusty. But yes, that is the last house my mother lived in. A lot of memories in that house, a lot of memories. I didn't live in this house, but my mother did, my stepdad, and also matter of fact, let me take a picture if I can. My mother did, my stepfather did, and my brothers did. Excuse me. My 2 younger brothers lived there until she passed away, and she was 58 years old. She passed away from cancer, and I feel the same way about cancer as a lot of other people. Pluck cancer, just pluck it. Pluck, 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 pluck cancer. That's how I feel about that. But anyway, y'all, I hope you guys enjoyed this trip down memory lane with me. Excuse me. I'll do this again from time to time, just showing different places, that has some memory, has some special, where I had some special memories from, I should say. And you know, chit chat with you guys and give you a little history of me and North Omaha, Nebraska. North Omaha, Nebraska. Hey, that's the old food stamp office right there to my right. That is the old food stamp office. I remember back in the day when I used to get those stamps when I was eligible, not eligible, because most people don't say it right. So we're gonna say eligible. And there's Tommy Road Gardens right there. Oh my God, those apartments back in the day was lit. I don't know how many incidents were reported coming from Tommy Rose Garden back in the day. Right now, it's not Tommy Rose Garden. It's owned by some white guy who actually had to have it shut down. I think a year or so ago, had to have it shut down because a lot of people in there were living in some horrible conditions. Horrible conditions. I mean, horrible conditions. And a lot of the people were refugees. And I remember watching the news, and the man, the owner of the apartment building, was saying, oh, well, the way they're living here is much better than what they came from. And I'm like, really? That's how you feel about your tenants? You know, I thought that was pretty messed up, but, you know, whatever. But, yeah, so they had shut it down a year or so ago. I can't remember the exact time. They had shut it down for a while until he brought it up to code. I don't know if all the apartments are available to live in right now, but I know when that happened, they had he had done so many, he was doing so many apartments at a time, bringing them up to code, so the people was moving back, you know, little by little. So but yeah, those apartments, man, the conditions was really bad. So that's terrible. I hate slumlords. I really do. I hate slumlords. But anyway, you guys, once again, I hope you enjoy going down memory lane with me. And I'm about to go home, head to the crib and cook something for the boys. And chill out. And again, I'm looking forward to, I said last night on my live, I'm looking forward to Power season. It's the last season, and it's episode 11 that comes on tonight. And we're going to find out who shot Ghost. If it was any of the people we believe, or if he was really not shot at all. Because there's a lot of people, you know, it could have been Dre, could have been Reek, could have been Tosh, could have been Paz, it could have been Tommy, it could have been Tate. I mean, it could have been the cop. I mean, there's so many people that it could have been, but we shall find out tonight. So stay tuned tonight, because I will be going live after power goes off, so we can review it live on my YouTube channel. I'll holla.